Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet a personal and professional coach who's going to remind all of us that all things are possible. His incredible journey next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I often tell people they don't make movies about people who were born rich, had no adversity, and died rich. Nobody would watch that movie. They watch movies like $1 Million Baby and Rocky, and it's all about being faced with adversity, fearing the adversity. We all do. It's natural. And then, getting back up again. My next guest knows a lot about that. Eron Zehavi. He's a good friend. He's a personal and professional coach. Thank you for coming on the show.
It's great to be here, Jeff. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, you and I met about a week ago, and I was so enthralled with your story that I wanted you to share your journey with us. But before you go ahead and tell your story, there was a wonderful video that was shot on you a few years ago, and I want to roll that first. Let's go ahead and roll it. Go.
Becoming paralyzed is a really big shift. And sometimes you just feel like you're a shadow and nobody can see you. And then sometimes you feel like you're just a baby and people are trying to do everything for you. And in here, you're just like a regular person. I was injured when I fell 40-something feet in the middle of the desert, and I fell straight back, and I woke up the next day in an ICU to a doctor telling me that I had compressed my spinal cord and I'm never going to walk again. And it can be a really scary and lonely and confusing place to re-enter the regular world, the world where your friends and your family and all your things, and you're now on a wheelchair and the world is not adapted for you. Fortunately, it's such a godsend to have Next Step, because coming in here, the work, it's physical, of course, and it's phenomenal. I don't know what I would have done without it, but there's a huge emotional and mental component that is a benefit of Next Step, because it's the first place that I experienced where I was looked at as normal. It's like, yeah, let's get to work. This is what we do. Where I am today, to when I started a couple of years ago, it's a world of difference. To be able to stand up on a regular basis, to be able to get electric stimulus into my muscles on a regular basis, to be able to actually walk with gait, to be able to move, is a gift beyond measure.
Well, I first want to point out, one, you're so courageous. You haven't actually seen that video in a while.
It's been a little bit, yeah. So bringing back some memories, yeah.
Well, take us back to right after the accident. I'm sure, like most people, you have kind of a "why God, why me" moment. How long did you stay in that "why me"?
You know, it's a great question, because my experience going through that and going through life, as we all do, is that it's a continual process of grieving. It's a continual process of getting back up again. You have breakthroughs. You have these moments of epiphany, and then sometimes you come back down again. And that's also, I mean, that's how life works, right? There's the rain, and then there's the rainbow. And so it's not about having this permanent breakthrough of like, I'm no longer a victim. I'm no longer at the mercy. It's about learning the skills and having the mindset, the tools, and the connection with life so that whatever comes in your way, you can deal with it when it comes.
Yes.
Because the hits are going to keep on coming.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and really the only thing that we have control of is how we respond to them, our relationship to them. And, you know, one of the things that I learned, there's so many things to learn from paralysis, from paraplegia, and so many gifts. One of the biggest ones is that I learned to be the witness of my experience. So whatever's happening is happening to us, and it's happening through us. And it can be really challenging. But if you can zoom out and actually just witness and see what's happening through you from a cellular level view,
Sure.
it helps to kind of diffuse the intensity of it. And then you can recognize, man, what a gift that I get to experience this.
We've got some more video of you in rehabilitation. And is this something that you still do? I mean, are you exercising every day?
Yeah, I'm still getting at it, you know. And some people, it's not about having the end goal of if I don't walk, I didn't succeed. But if I don't keep going, it's never going to happen.
Sure.
And that's a really important thing too that I had the opportunity to learn through this, is that so many of us set these goals and say, if I get the car, I'll be happy. If I get the house, if I get the wife, if I walk, if my bank account, whatever it is, and all of these things. And for so many people, they get them and they're like, I'm not happy though. And then there's a gap there. And when you recognize the shift, that it is not actually about accessing whatever it is, the thing that you think you want.
Yes.
It's about generating the quality of the experience that you want. So if you want to be happy, then you just need to generate happiness. And from there, maybe you'll get the car, maybe I'll walk, but it doesn't matter, because you've already learned how to do that. And that's one of the greatest gifts of this, is because when you can learn to generate and create your experience, you are literally liberated and free from being a victim of any of your external circumstances or conditions.
Wow. I encourage you to follow him on all his social media platforms because he's producing a lot of rich content. I found one that I particularly liked. Let's go ahead and roll that.
One of the gifts that I learned from paraplegia is when I was in the hospital, learning how to zoom out and be the witness of my experience. Because when you're in a really challenging experience, for me, I'm laying on my back for 33 straight days and I literally can't move. And my body is dissolving, along with the mental piece of it and all of the fears. That can be a lot to process. And whatever you're going through is going to be your own battle, your own journey. It doesn't even have to be physical, but mentally in the mind, so much to process. Having the ability to zoom out and take the cellular level view and recognizing that your soul, your spirit, chose to come in to this experience, chose to be embodied, is actually really stoked to be able to have an incredible experience. The human part is very challenged, but being able to take that perspective and move from this is happening to me to this is happening through me is an incredible reset to dive back in and work through the challenges.
So powerful. And I know that you coach people from coast to coast. What's one of your favorite success stories?
Yeah. You know, you don't have to be on a wheelchair to be paralyzed. Paraplegia is an inconvenience, but paralysis is a state of mind. And any challenging circumstance we have can leave us in a state of paralysis. The one, to answer your question, that comes to mind, and I'm going to try not to get too emotional here. There was a woman that I was working with who had suffered an extreme situation. She was skiing with her soulmate, and he had a very bad fall, 200 feet, and literally died in her arms. So, I mean, even just thinking about that, how does somebody recover from that? And that might be years and years of therapy to have to go through that. And she was carrying so much. So I worked through a process that I've developed, which I call to live life as art, and then to acknowledge and reframe and transcend. We can, don't get into all the details, but the point of it with her is that we were able to look at the experience and just go through piece by piece. And there was a lot of things that she thought, I could have done this differently, or feel guilty, or what could have, all of the stories that we tell ourselves. When you can reframe them, and I'll give you one of the many to give examples. So, he ended up, as I said, he passed and transitioned in her arms. And he said, well, would you have preferred that you weren't there when it happened? She said, no, not at all. Is there anybody else you would rather have been with him when he transitioned? No, not at all. And then we all have to go at some time. What's the thing he loved to do more than anything? To ski. Wow. Okay. So he was going to pass at some point, and he was doing the thing he loved the most in the world, and you got to be there with him and be the last person, and you wouldn't want anybody else to be there. What a gift of that experience for you. And when you can shift that, man, your entire life changes. And it's all here. It's all perspective, because what happened with him is what happened with him. But how we perceive it and our perception of it and how we can frame our connection to it, that determines the quality of it. And this can be applied to anyone for anything. And even for that, I can come look at myself and think, what a gift that I was given to experience paraplegia, because I was given the circumstance that catalyzed me to learn how to embody this because I had to. And now I have the opportunity to share it with others, which is, such a big part of my heart.
So what do you feel like your life's purpose is now?
My life's purpose is to create beauty in the world. I look around and I see the same thing a lot of other people do. There's a lot of challenges out there, and you can get sucked into the darkness, or you can get pulled in and guided by the light. And I believe that all of us, being these emanations, creations of this one infinite creator, and whether you want to call it God, or you want to call it source, or field, or energy, it doesn't matter what name you put to it. Yeah. We are all extensions of this creative force that has created everything in existence. So within us, from that place, we have all the power in the world to create our experience of life.
Yes.
So what's the one thing that we can do to be able to actually experience that, and how can I serve, is to help people to reconnect to their divinity. Support people in reconnecting to their power to create and choose their experience of life.
So I think what your message is so powerful, and the viewpoint that you come from, I think, allows other people to put it into perspective, because we all make a big deal out of things that happen to us. I got laid off, I got divorced, and some people stay, to your point, paralyzed in that injury forever.
Yeah.
I loved your art of getting people out of their own. Zig Ziglar called it stinking thinking.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Because, and even in a way, without taking something too extreme, let's say that it's raining outside. And if you had to go on a long trip, you think, oh, great, it's raining and I have to deal with that and it's going to be hard to drive. This sucks. Now, let's say then you needed your plants to be watered and you think, wow, it's raining. This is fantastic. All my plants, my garden's going to get nourished. So is the rain good or is it bad? It's neither. Everything is neutral. We get to choose our perspective. So that's an easy example to understand. But whether you get laid off or somebody dies or you break up in a relationship or you experience paraplegia, the same neutrality of the experience exists. There is no experience that within it holds any inherent nature that is more powerful than your choice of how you want to perceive that experience and what you want to do to create your life from it.
Well, I'm going to just share a thought that I've had for a long time that, setbacks happen to everybody. If I had a tire go out this afternoon, I don't know how to repair a tire, so I'm going to call, my dealership and they're going to come tow me. And I could be in a funk and I could say, why did this happen to me? Or I could say, well, I guess I got to meet the tow truck guy. Maybe the tow truck guy needs a pep talk, and I've always been told I'm good at pep talks. So do you have the same perspective? Like any minor detour, I missed this plane, I missed this appointment. Do you say, okay, God, what do you got for me?
100%. Because it's all God or it's no God. And I know that it's not no God. It can't be. It can't be anything but the whole, right? That's the idea of the one, of the infinite. And I think about that even with my injury, it's not like I'm climbing and then God said, I'm going to just go grab a sandwich, and he turned in and I fall and I'm so sorry. I was just going to go quick. It's not that. It's impossible for anything to be outside of some higher level of a synchronic divine order. Either everything is in this beautiful synchronicity and connection, and we might not understand it, or it's absolute chaos. There's no way for it to be anywhere in between. And so I don't think we have to understand it all, and we can't. So don't even try. But if you can learn to come back to that trust, you're going to have a much happier life. And isn't that sort of the like, even if you were just telling yourself that, even if it wasn't true, what do you care? You're going to actually be happy.
Well, I think one of the gifts God gave you is you're a great communicator, and the way you formulate your thoughts is just off the charts. We've got a couple minutes left, so why don't you look into the camera on the left and talk to the person who's struggling right now with whatever that it is that is holding them back.
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity to do that. If you are listening to this message, and what it means is that you are a manifestation of the exact same energetic force and source that created the entirety of existence. There is not one single aspect of you that is disconnected from that energy. And what that means is that regardless of whatever circumstance you are going through or whatever challenge that you are going through, you have within you the creative power to be able to choose your perspective of that experience, to take the challenging energy and to transmute it into generative fuel that will allow you to create the experience of life that you desire. And it has no bearing on what the challenger experiences. And the one more thing I'll say to that, if you are experiencing a very tough challenge, remember that it's only the best athletes, it's only the elite performers that get given the toughest challenges. It's not the last guy on the bench, it's the top athletes, it is the top performers. So if the universe is presenting you with a significant challenge, it's not the universe's way or God's way of saying that you're being punished, it's a way of saying that he trusts you to be given that opportunity to take that challenge, to take that darkness and to transmute it into light.
Wow, so profound. I know there's a book in you, there's probably a movie. So profound. I really enjoyed this. We're going to end with his website, which is eronzehavi.com. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much, Seth. I really enjoyed it.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.